Welcome to another class on angelology or angels. And in this class, we're going to look at a number of subtopics: the reality of the angels, the relative importance of angels and men, and so on. Let us pause a prayer. Father in heaven, you are God, you are supreme, and ask your coverage even now as I undertake, Lord, to do the study on angels. Ask your protection, ask that you gird me with the strength, the truth, your fire, and your power, your might, all the resources necessary, and that you deploy more angels, guardian angels, warring angels, arresting officers to guard me, and angels to minister to me. I pray the same for the participants in this course. I ask, Lord, for your protection and guard and guidance and preservation upon the system and engage to make this course possible. I pray, Lord, that you cover up this laptop, even the book, with your holy presence. Amen. Good. In the light of so much revelation, with looking at the reality of the angels, the speculations of Gnosticism regarding angels must be rejected. The angels are living beings of the highest position and greatest consequence in the universe. They are more than mere powers emanating from God, though in no way independent, in the sense that they are self-originating, self-sustaining, or capable of self-annihilation. They are free moral beings and have in past ages at least held their own destiny within the power of their own choice. They are self-originating, they are not independent in the sense that they are self-originating. They didn't generate themselves, they don't keep themselves, and they can't destroy themselves. They can't. Yet they are free moral beings and have, in past ages, at least held their own destiny within the power of their own choice. Meaning, there are those who elected to stay with God, and there are those who elected to follow Satan. That they had a free moral choice. Free moral choice. Humans have free moral choices too, but I wouldn't say that I did not elect to follow Satan or to choose him. I did not. When I reached the age of accountability where I could understand certain basic things, I did elect, I did choose God by His grace, by His power. I don't know what is wrong here. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. It is revealed that some of the angels sinned, and that they kept not their first estate. 2 Peter 2:4, Jude 1:6. Of the tremendous issues involved and the far-flung epochs of history embraced in these brief declarations, no complete disclosure is proffered. Whatever occurred, there could be no breaking away from the creature's relation to the Creator. And as stated in the scriptures, these fallen angels must in the end account to the one whom they repudiated. Ezekiel 28:16-17, Matthew 25:41. They'll have to account. They were giving some thrashing at Calvary, and some have even been put away. If you read the book of Jude is one chapter. Some were put away, locked away for the day of judgment. Now, it seems a long time to us, but to God it's not a long time. They are going to have to give account. The sufficiency of the angels, like that of all created beings, is of God alone. They live and move by virtue of divine enablement. Even Michael, the archangel, when in controversy with Satan, asserted his dependence on God. Jude 1:9. He didn't act in his own accord. He did not assume that he was acting in God's permission, and so he could just take down Satan. The scriptures maintain that man, and we come now to relative importance of angels and men. The scriptures maintain that man was made a little lower than the angels. Psalm 8:45, Hebrews 2:67. Whether this refers to estate or to essential inherent qualities is not determined. It is probable that the angels are superior to man in both respects. Much dispute has arisen in earlier days over this question. Among more recent writers, Martinson, with many others, argues that the angels are inferior to men. I will not accept that angels are inferior to men, as we are. They will become inferior to us in a new life, but not in the present life. Anyway, let us look at the argument that angels are inferior to men, while Donner, with even a larger group, contends that the angels are superior. Of course they are. They're stronger than you. One angel was able to put to death 185,000 elite troops in one blow. Of course they're superior in every way. The Bible avers that man was made in the image of God. No such word is spoken of angels. Man possesses a material body with its experiences. No such experience is reported of the angels, though it is evident that demons seek embodiment whenever that is possible. Yes, Satan too. He used the serpent. This coursing on the angels, Dr. Gerhardt writes on the relative importance of angels and men. Man is a physio-spiritual being. Man is a physio-spiritual being, organically uniting in his constitution, body and soul. The body is not, as has frequently been taught, a clog to the soul, or a degradation of manhood, or the infliction of a penalty. It is an element of dignity, a condition of spiritual vitality, conjoining body and soul in indissoluble unity. Man is connected with two worlds. On the one side, bodily organization binds human life, human personality with matter. matter has to do with material substance. With all the forces and processes of nature backward to its beginnings. On the other side, spiritual life allies man to the pre-mundane dominion of spirit. Connected with the heavenly realm and with the economy of earth, his constitution qualifies him to be the mediator between the infinite and the finite, between the heavenly and the earthly, the material and the spiritual, the representative of God in his relations to the world, the organ of the world in its relations to God. Revelation does not accord with this position of dignity to any order of angelic spirits. Although the angel in relation to man is a more powerful spirit, of course, far supremely more powerful, man's spirit is nevertheless the richer and the more comprehensive. I agree with that, based on our experience. And that is why one songwriter says, and it's a songwriter who says, when we get to heaven and begin to sing redemption's story, angels will fold their wings. Not that they have wings, but I mean it's poetic. Angels never felt the joy our salvation brings. They never knew what it was, what it meant to be lost and destined to hell, and to be rescued by God's grace and given God's life. For the angel in all his power is only the expression of a single one of all those phases which man, in the inward nature of his soul and the richness of his own individuality, is intended to combine into a complete and perfect microcosm. It is precisely because the angels are spirits, not souls, that they cannot possess the same rich existence as man, whose soul is the point of union in which spirit and nature meet. No consideration of the relative importance of angels as compared to man will be complete which fails to observe that man, though now sunken to an horrible pit and miry clay, is when redeemed lifted up to a place of secure standing on the rock, Psalm 40 verse 2, and destined to be conformed to the image of Christ, which final estate is far above that of the angels. I agree that estate, when man is lifted up physically, and when the transformation of our bodies take place, when that takes place, it'll be above the angels. But not now. Although we have salvation, we're still not above them now. There is a marked discrepancy in much of the effort to draw a contrast between these two orders of divine creation. The Bible is the only source of trustworthy information and is primarily a revelation to man of his own relation to God. Beyond the mere part that angels have in the affairs of men, there is little intimation about those larger spheres of activity into which the angels enter. The discussion reaches no satisfactory conclusion for want of even elementary knowledge regarding the angels. Let us look at the personality of angels. Truth bearing on the personality of angels is also attended with difficulties. Agreement cannot be accorded. The following vague statement by Martinson, vague statement. And listen to the statement. There are many sorts of spirits under the heavens, and for this very reason, also many degrees of spirituality and spiritual independence. And we may therefore very properly assert that the angels are divided into classes. If we contemplate the angels in relation to the conception of personality, we may say there are powers whose spirituality is so far from being independent that they possess only a represented personality. In short, are only personifications. If such a character are the tempests and flames which execute the commands of the Lord, there exist other powers in the creation which possess a higher degree of spirituality, an intermediary state of existence between personification and personality. Under this category may be classed the spiritual powers in history, as for instance the spirit of nations and the deities of mythology. Is regarded as vague, but the whole point is there are orders of angels, and a number of these orders went to Satan. Satan is an angel, fallen angel, and it belonged to it's of a higher order. When he was in heaven as a good angel, it was of a higher order. He still has that power, much of that power. And I say much because he's not able to, although he's acting on his own, he's not able to execute that power as he would like to. He can't do it outside of God's will and permission. And we have a part to play in that we have the power of prayer to contain him. We have that, the power of prayer. And if we trust God, submit to God, the Bible says, and resist Satan, and that is through prayer and faith. If we do that, he will flee. He has to flee. So we have great power and authority at his disposal. And the power we have is the power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead. That power. We have to be aware of it, and we have to be able, and we should be willing to appropriate it and use it. Now, if it is this matter, we find powers in history which hover in the region lying between personality and personification. It is no less certain that Revelation recognizes a third class of cosmical powers which constitute a free and personal spiritual kingdom. No, you have orders of angels, as I was saying, and some follow Satan. Satan is on its own, and so in his kingdom there are orders of spirits. It's not that you have a different. Satan has this group, and there's another body, and there's another kingdom. No, it's one kingdom. One kingdom. Though their service or dignity may vary, there is no implication in the Bible that some angels are more intelligent than others. Every feature of personality is predicted of the angels. They are individual beings, and those spirits experience emotions. They render intelligent worship. Psalm 148:2. They behold with due understanding the face of the Father. Matthew, that is intellect. Matthew 18:10. They know their limitations, again intellect. Matthew 24:36. Their inferiority to the Son of God. Hebrews 1, 4-14. And in the case of the fallen angels, they know their ability to do evil. The angels are individuals, yet though sometimes appearing in a separate capacity, they are subject to classifications and varying ranks of importance and power. Varying ranks of importance and power. We come to a new subpoint, the creation and mode of existence of the angels. It is assumed from Colossians 1:16-17 that all angels were created simultaneously. In like manner, it is assumed that the creation of angels was completed at that time and that none will be added to their number. They are not subject to death. By death, well, death means separation. They have no body to separate. They don't have material and immaterial to separate. They only have immaterial. So, to that extent, and I think they're not, and maybe what it means, they're not subject to extinction. Right? He says they're not subject to death or any form of extinction. They can't be extinct. Our spirits too can't be extinct. Spirit can't go extinct. Therefore, they do not decrease as they do not increase. They don't procreate. They don't get married. They don't have children. The plan by which the human family is secured through propagation has no counterpart among the angels. Each angel, being a direct creation of God, stands in immediate and personal relation to the Creator himself. They don't propagate or procreate, but they observe and then do the process. They understand it. And being spirits, the evil ones know how to manipulate the process. Hence, they enter the fetus in the placenta, through the placenta, or in the uterus, the womb. So there was a time when children were born giants, and they're still being born demon possessed. They know how to manipulate that process. So because they observe, as we saw earlier on, they observe us, and they're standing by. They neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are the angels of God in heaven. And the same thing with demons or fallen angels. Matthew 22:24-30. Thus it is concluded that there is no decrease or increase among these heavenly beings. The existence of angels is assumed in the scriptures, and the scriptures form the only source of worthy information bearing on those beings who, aside from supernatural appearances, are not allowed to come into the sphere of human consciousness. As man is the highest creation of earthly spheres, so the angels are the highest creation of larger spheres, described in Colossians 1:16-17, where it is written, "For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions, or principalities, or powers." Look at that. When they be thrones, they be thrones. So you can only get your throne if God gives one to you. He is the one who creates thrones and controls thrones or dominions. And then it goes on to principalities. These are the fallen ones. Principalities. These territorials, are powers. All things are created by him and for him, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. As the angels, in common with all other moral beings, were created by Christ and for Christ, so they abide forever unto the praise of his glory. Though some human beings and certain angels now withhold their worship of God, the greater part of the angels are before his throne in ceaseless adoration. Those human beings and angels who withhold the worship of God are those who are really supporting Satan. It can be no small issue in the divine councils that certain creatures fallen in sin withhold their note of praise from the one to whom all honor is due. This repudiation could not go on forever. It is gratifying to read that in his kingdom reign, Christ will put down all rule and authority, all those who are operating as if they are important, and that at the close of this age, present age, he will by the ministry of angels, that God does use them, gather out of human spheres all things that offend, of the disposition of enmity in higher sphere, it is said, for he must reign till he hath put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death, 1 Corinthians 15:25-26. While of the disposition of enmity in the lower spheres it is written, the Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them with no iniquity, that offend, and them which do iniquity, yes, and them that do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Matthew 13:41-43. As compared with human and animal existence, the angels may be said to be incorporeal, but only in the sense that they do not sustain a mortal organization. The scriptures imply that the angels do have embodiment. God is a spirit. God is spirit. Yet when addressing the Jews, Christ said of the Father, you have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. John 5:37, Ezekiel 33:23. It is essential to a spirit that it have localized, determined spiritual form. Too often the problem is confused by imposing upon spiritual beings those limitations which belong to humanity. For the saints in heaven, there is promised a spiritual body, a body adapted to the spirit man. That is 1 Corinthians 15:44. Such indeed is the body of the glorified Lord. Yes, Philippians 3:21. There are many kinds of bodies even on the earth. The Apostle points out 1 Corinthians 15:39-40. And goes on to say, there are also celestial bodies and bodies of terrestrial. It is small evidence that there are no celestial bodies if the issue rests on no more than the truth that man has no power to discern such bodies. Spirits have a definite form of organization which is adapted to the law of their being. They are both finite and spatial. All this may be true, though they are far removed from this mundane economy. They are able to approach the sphere of human life, but that fact in no way imposes upon them the conformity to human existence. The appearance of angels may be, as occasion demands, so like men, that they pass as men. The appearance of angels may be as occasion demands. So like men, they pass as men. How else could some entertain angels unawares? Hebrews 13:2. On the other hand, their appearance is sometimes in dazzling white and blazing glory. Matthew 28:2-4. When Christ declared, "A spirit has not flesh and bones as you see them have." So they have, well, not bodies as all we know that bodies. But they have what can take shape and form. He did not imply that spirit has no body at all, but rather that they do have bodies which, in constitution, are different from those of men. Those bodies don't have flesh and bone, because Jesus was saying, spirit don't have flesh and bone the way when you feel me, come and touch me. I have. In a discreet and prudent manner, Dr. William Koch has canvassed the complicated field of truth relative to the nature and corporality of the angels thus. And when we come back, it's lengthy. When we come back to the next class, we look at it. Praise the Lord. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. Do your reflection, write what you understand from it, and a page and a half for each video. A video is a class, and you're going to do that and email it to me. God bless you.